tell their stories backwards. Police actually do this, starting at the end and systematically working their way back. Instruct them to be as complete and detailed as they can. This technique, part of a cognitive interview Geiselman co-developed with Ronald Fisher, a former UCLA psychologist, now at Florida International University, quote, increases the cognitive load to push them over the edge, unquote. A deceptive person, even a professional liar, is under a heavy cognitive load as he tries to stick to his story while monitoring your reaction. And I'll tell you right there, folks, that is a cognitive load I'm not willing to put on myself. That's probably the whole reason I love truth and I am honest, because the work involved to maintain lies is a ridiculously high amount of work. And that's if you don't want to get caught. Now, there are plenty of sloppy liars out there. I was married to one. They just lie about everything. Don't care. Just lying, tripping up, don't care. Kind of like a drunk liar. So having people tell their story backwards, that's very pointed, isn't it? If you have someone say, okay, tell me that story backwards, well, they know now that you're interrogating them and not believing them, or at least trying to catch them in a lie. This is something that probably would not be appropriate unless you were a parent and you thought your kid was lying to you and you hadn't figured it out yet, or something else. But, you know, even if they've got their lie well memorized, by increasing this cognitive load, you're automatically, in a correlational sense, increasing the chance that they're going to stumble over something that's obvious to you. Let me tell you something as a little side note to lying here. I've caught people in lies on radio shows, and I'm not going to tell you who they are, and I'm not going to tell you what they lied about, because that's for me. I don't show my cards. I keep my cards to myself when it comes to how I read people. I'm not going to share all my tricks. I'll just say that when I find out I've been lied to, or when I hear someone try to pass something off as truth and I know that's a lie, I lose some respect for them on the spot. And then I ask myself, why? Was this to make someone feel better? If I tell you your hair looks beautiful and you look like Buster Poindexter on crack, then my overall cause is a good one. I'm going to tell that lie. I think I will. I mean, in general, yes, I'm going to tell that lie. I want people to feel good. But if you've got a booger on your nose and you ask me if you look all right, I'm not going to tell you look all right. I'm going to say you have a booger on your nose. Wipe it off. I would want you to tell me that. So, you know, where you draw the line there on that is up to you. When it comes to anything important in this show's whole core, it's truth. It's being honest, being frank, and trying to get you to appreciate truth over deceit or fluff. Because if you can do that, I think you get closer to living an accurate reality than if you just live on the media hype or the Hollywood hype or the religious hype or any other hype that has a specific angle. You want the truth in its raw form and hold that as your reality. And then voluntarily you can walk away from the truth anytime you want to go live in the fantasy land. But if you don't know what's there, you've got no starting block. You know, you've got no reference. And I guarantee you, if we were to sit 100 random Americans down today and ask them what they believe is true about, say, 100 major questions, the stuff you'd read in the newspaper, you would get 100 very different accounts of what reality is. So what is reality? How subjective is it? Well, that's up to you to decide. I think there's like Pendulette, I do believe there's a pretty objective reality out there. Now, whether or not we're plugged into the Matrix, and that is not a watertight argument, as he said, because there's no evidence for it. That's not watertight, okay? It just is unfalsifiable. So that's what makes it not a solid argument. So it's not a watertight argument, but it's possible. It's possible that there is something like the Matrix going on, that we're all plugged in somewhere in this sea of consciousness, having our dream or being programmed to believe we're living a separate life, and we're putting out body heat for the aliens, whatever, the machines. I think we should probably take reality as our senses deliver it to us, in conjunction with each other, along with known facts. I think that's how we should process it, and we should come to agreements on what the truth is, what's accurate and what's not accurate. And I think to a large degree we've done that. But when I look at media organizations and media outlets, especially since the age of innocence and media is gone, I don't know when it died, 1960. Now it's sell your audience what they want. And people want to hear you hate on the people they hate and love on the people they love. That's what they want to hear. That feels good to the human mind. So when you go to your chosen media outlet, you're going to hear things that feel comfortable to you. And it's going to reinforce your belief system. So you're going to grow stronger and stronger in that belief system. And if that belief system is ignorant, then you're going to grow more ignorant. So the idea is, if you want to keep an accurate reality in your head, go to many news sources. Go to 8 or 10. Get your information from varied sources. Don't put everything in one basket, or you're going to get a very sharp angle on your views being delivered to you. Some of these are going to be uncomfortable. You know, I actually can feel my hair stand up on the back of my neck sometimes when I watch Fox News. If I know that they're being racist or lying, if I know it. It happens less on MSNBC, but it does happen. And it happens on CNN today. I'll give you an example on CNN. All right, the legal show was on. I think Ashley Banfield or something, and some lady was on there, and they were talking about the American Sniper case. All right, follow my logic here, and we'll get back to the lying in a minute. That's gonna be the end of the show. Follow my logic. So she goes. So the guy, I don't remember his name, one of the field reporters is talking about this case, and then one of the trained lawyers that's actually a panelist was on CNN talking about this legal case. Now, as you know, this guy claims to be insane. The evidence so far suggests pretty strongly that he was insane. Now, they have to determine if he knew right from wrong. So the attorney on the panel says this on CNN, and this girl, this lady, I don't remember her name, not Ashley Banfield, but another host, said, it always comes back to motive. It's all about the motive. And then and that was her lead out. And I said, and the attorney said, yeah, you know how they say it when they don't mean it. Yeah. No, it's not about motive. Not when you're dealing with insanity. With insanity, motive is the last thing you're looking for. The only way motive would have been important is if we had this person and we were trying to present as the prosecution a different reason that he may have killed these people. Then we would look at motive. But when he thinks they're half human, half pig, if that is generally accepted as part of his mental condition, motive's out the window. Motive is out the window. All we need to know now is, did he know right from wrong? So she said something that sounded semi-smart, and she didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. That annoys me. That happened on CNN. That really gets under my skin. Don't do that. And you're talking to lawyers. You're not a lawyer. You're talking to lawyers. They're telling you how it is, and you say something like, it's always motive. It always comes back to motive. No, not in this case, lady. Not in this case. But okay, whatever you say. And that's the way the attorney handled it. All right, we're going to do a little bit more about the lying and how to detect liars. Why you need to be wary of. Who you need to be wary of. It's not the dumb people. Cognitive load, remember? Who can best handle thinking hard? Who comes up with great stories on the fly? It's true. Smarter and more creative people are better liars. From my interview with Duke Professor Dan O'Reilly, author of The Honest Truth About Dishonesty, How We Lie to Everyone, Especially Ourselves, he says this. So ask yourselves, who can tell better stories? It turns out more creative people can tell better stories. So that's actually what we find. We find it when we measure students that are more creative, they cheat more. We find that when we use priming to increase creativity, we also increase dishonesty. It brings a smirk to my face whenever people wish for children that are smart and creative. Yes, research shows you can tell how smart your child is by how early they start lying, as I led into before. In a way, this whole story feels a little damning to me, because some of the things I pride myself upon are creativity, imagination, and maybe I think my whole truth angle is a balancing act for myself. That's why I'm really on this ride, because I have to use my imagination when I write fiction stories. I have to use it when I'm jumping from topic to topic in this radio show. What I need in order to pull me in the other direction is a very solid grasp on the truth. And that's really what I'm sharing with you. It's an ongoing quest. It's something I take very seriously. Cannot stand to see people lie and try to sell it as nonfiction. That drives me insane. especially when it's being done for political or personal gain at the expense of someone else. That really gets on my nerves. Some people lie, it seems like, for no reason. I can't imagine what they're gaining out of the lie. But I catch them in lies all the time, and I just... Maybe we should stop caring. But lying has kind of become fashionable. I was listening to an NPR program not too long ago talking about the Russians and the high government, Putin's crowd, how there's a lot of lying going on. There's a lot of lying in a communist society because you go to work and you have to present one image. I love my government. I love my country the way it is right now. Everything's great. Then you go home and you put on another face. So lying is rewarded and expected as a part of life in a country like Russia. You don't be speaking out against the government and stuff. In other words, you can't be honest. It's bad for your health. So they were talking about how these people grow up 30, 40, 50 years of lying and then go into the government and you expect them to tell the truth? I mean, they have learned lying as a lifestyle. So you almost can't trust anything they say. You have to verify everything when it comes to anybody that grew up in a communist country or a country where there is a seriously oppressive regime at the head that would kill you or have you arrested if you spoke out against them. Then take all of that with a grain of salt, 2 grains of salt and some sugar. That'll sweeten the deal. We'll talk a little bit more about lying, and then I'm going to let you go and call this a night. What have I missed? I wanted to... Oh, yeah, there's a couple more here. So we talked about telling the story backwards. All this deception. Participants in 3 studies considered various characteristics for ideal members of interdependent groups, e.g. work teams, athletic teams, and relationships, family members, employees. Across different measures of trait importance and different groups of relationships, trustworthiness was considered extremely important for all interdependent others. So even with all of this lying going on, people put value on your honesty. And I think that also has something to do, at least in a modern context, with how rare it is. Do you realize how rare it is to find someone that's going to be totally honest with you all the time? How many coworkers do you have? How many friends do you have that lie to you routinely? Does it get on your nerves? Doesn't it feel like some people get offended because they say, he thought I was dumb enough to believe that? That doesn't offend me. I just, that part of it doesn't bother me because I'm not dumb. I'm going to probably pick up on your lie pretty quick. But what does bother me is that you didn't respect me enough to tell me the truth about something. See, I'd rather you just not tell me about it at all. And I understand if I caught you in a corner and asked you a question and you have to lie because you're trying to save face or something, all right, I can probably see you justifying that. But if you're just telling me a story and you're lying, I'm annoyed by that. Why would you do that? That's bad stuff, people. Don't lie. Don't tell people lies. Catch yourself lying. Stop lying. Put a rubber band around your wrist and snap it every time you're tempted to tell a lie. And truth will become one of your characteristics, a valuable one, obviously, especially in interdependent groups, and one that you can carry around like a trophy that you've won. I have won the public trust because I'm honest. Now, don't get me wrong about honesty here. I don't share all my secrets on this show. You know that. I got my personal life, but the shit I'm telling you is the truth. You do know that. I know you know that. When it's opinion, it sounds like opinion because it is opinion. When it's fact, it sounds like fact because it is fact. And when I'm wrong, cows will be flying, essentially. No, I'm wrong all the time. We know this. Stabby, took me a long time to warm up to this point. Damn, he's pretty quick, though. Who are you talking about? I don't know who you're talking about. The Truth, Kevin, talks about it as, I think, the same definition of truth I use. I think so, too. No, Apocalypse, I'm very boring in the bedroom, man. I'll just be honest with you. So if I were going to watch a porn, it'd be one guy, one girl, doggy, we're done. Yeah, very boring, very boring. Sex is kind of dumb to me. I see the purpose of it, but yeah, it's not, I don't know. There's so many more interesting things to do, which basically comes down to thinking. Let's see,